Very special edition of The Big Picture, featuring one of the most talented actresses of the now generation, Winona Ryder. She'll be waxing lyrical about her career, her corsets, and her latest tribute to love and laziness, Reality Bites. We'll be getting the lowdown on her lowdown co-stars and tips on how to dance to the worst record ever made. So don't be a slacker. Watch The Big Picture Reality Bites special, which comes specially tailored with German subtitles on page 888 of MTV Text. Like love, it's just round the corner. Coming up next, Ethan Hawke, Ben Stiller and a whole bunch of slackers star in this Big Picture Reality Bites special right now with German subtitles available on page 888 of MTV Text if you want. So it's lights, camera, who cares? Well,
22-year-old Winona Ryder has combined waifish beauty with a deftly ironic attitude to become the prototypic actress of her time, perfectly suited to portray the lowered expectations and heightened anxieties of life and love in the neurasthenic 90s, just as she does in Reality Bites. But some of those contemporary skills have remained hidden recently beneath the corsets she's worn in film versions of two 19th century classics, Bram Stoker's Dracula and The Age of Innocence.
The costume dramas were really hard to do. You know, you shoot for 3 or 4 months, and it's being in a corset for that long, you just sit there and fantasize about blue jeans and like t-shirts. Wow, you know, and you watch people from walking by your trailer in t-shirts, and you just like.
The Age of Innocence clothes may have chafed, but the role fit her well enough to win her an Academy Award nomination and a Golden Globe for Best Supporting Actress under the direction of Martin Scorsese.
Well, you're almost 22. Just tell your mother what you want.
I couldn't refuse her the very last thing she'd ever ask of me as a little girl.
Can't we just strike out for ourselves, May?
Shall we elope?
Winona Ryder has a delightful quality about her that was perfect for May. She's starting out as a little girl and becoming a woman by the end of the piece. And it's very moving as she takes control of the situation.
Winona says the chance to work with Scorsese transformed her career.
It renewed like the reason I ever wanted to be an actress. You know, it was because of movies like that. It was the first time I ever felt proud of myself and of my own performance. It had never happened to me, and it didn't even occur to me, like, until I saw it, and I had this feeling that was completely unfamiliar, and and it scared me really bad. I was like, why am I feeling this way? I feel weird, I feel really weird, and then I realized it was pride.
You've dealt in a couple of movies, finally, with the great emotions. I mean, something like Edward Scissorhands or Dracula, you're playing really big emotions on some.
Really big. Too big.
You think too big as you look on it, or?
Well, I watched Dracula the other night. It's been on movie channels, and it really bummed me out. I mean, to me, I thought it was fun, though. I mean, it was very fun to watch, but it was just so over the top. And I was just so, you know.
Please, I don't care. Make me.
Marry, only cursed as I am to walk in the shadow of death for all eternity. I love you too much to condemn you.
Take me away from all this death.
I don't know. I don't really know. I just prefer playing emotions that I can relate to a little bit.
In Winona's 8-year film career, no role has touched her more deeply than that of Veronica Sawyer, teen angst goddess of the dark high school comedy Heathers.
God, they won't expel him. They'll just suspend him for a week or something.
He used a real gun.
No way. He used blanks. All JD really did was ruin 2 pairs of pants. Maybe not even that. Can you bleach out urine stains?
You seem pretty amused. I thought you had given up on high school guys.
Never say never.
So what are you gonna do, Heather? Take the 2 shots or send me out?
Did you have a brain tumor for breakfast?
Heathers is just, to me, one of the greatest movies ever. I just think it's a masterpiece.
Reality Bites marks Winona's return to Heather's territory and gives her not only a character she can connect with, but also fellow cast members who share her interests. Ethan Hawke, Janine Garofalo, and Ben Stiller among them. She embarked on the project determined to avoid some acting shortcuts she says she's used in the past.
I hate to admit this, but as an actress, when you work with older people, you develop these techniques, how to get away with stuff more by just being really adorable, and you're the kid, and so everyone just thinks you're so cute, so they let you get away with stuff. And when you're working with kids, you know, that, or young people, that doesn't work because they're like, what are you doing, you know?
What sort of tricks are they? You were batting your eyes a little bit.
Well, you know, there's the kind of, you can make your, God, this is so horrible. Well, I mean, there's things you can do, like you can make your eyes well up and make you look really waifish and sad, you know? And, or you can do things like you can just fake emotion, which is, you know, I mean, that is actually part of acting, acting is pretending, but you try to always like put a little bit of reality in there and a little bit of your real feelings. And I'd be bitter if I had to pay $750 and a movie, not only was it bad, but the actors looked like they didn't give it. You know, it was a fig.
While Winona was ready to go to work, rookie director Ben Stiller was a tad daunted at the prospect of instructing so experienced an actress.
And there's definitely the feeling I'm a first-time director, and I'm dealing with someone who's just come off working with Scorsese and Coppola, and there's a definite feeling of like, well, what am I going to be able to offer her? And I felt that like the first day of rehearsal, especially also with Ethan and everybody there.
Co-star Ethan Hawke, however, is no stranger to directors with short resumes and says that he found that the generational purity of the set provided a welcome and supportive atmosphere in which to work on the characters.
It gave this very unique feel to the set, which was that everybody was in this together and it really felt like a project, and everybody really didn't know what we were doing. You know, when Winona's very young, and I'm very young, and Ben's very young, and Helen, who wrote it's very young, and the movie's about people our age, so we were really the right age. We were making a movie about ourselves, so it kind of had this whole kind of feel of, oh, hey, you know, come on, kids, hey, Mom, you know, look, no hands.
The product of first-time screenwriter Helen Childress, Reality Bites needed all of Stiller and Ryder's juice in the movie industry to get made at all, though Ben says Universal Studios has been 100% supportive. Sort of.
I remember having lunch with one of the executives, and he said, hey, congratulations. I just want you to know we're behind you. We want you to do this. We believe in your talent. And if the movie doesn't gross at least $20 million, you're screwed.
When we return, Winona dances to the neck and explains why she can't tell a joke.
I guess I'm a non-practicing Jew.
Hey, I'm a non-practicing virgin.
Oh, you've reached the winter of our discontent.
The movie starts out right after graduation from college, and you see these friends who are kind of going off into the world and trying to figure out where to go and what to do. And so you meet Lelena, who's did really well in school, is very responsible and valedictorian of her class, and she has her best friend Troy. Troy has lost his job at the newsstand, so he has to come in and bunk with Lelena and Vicky, who's her best friend.
Are you out of your mind? Oh my God, Lee, he just got fired from the newsstand. He needs a place to stay till he can find a new job and get his own place.
Vicky, that's the American dream of the 90s. That could take years.
Look at it like a built-in security system. We'll have a man around the house.
We'll have a hall monitor. That's what we'll have. I don't even know if this is allowed in the building.
It's not like Mr. Roper's gonna burst in. I'll just stay on the couch.
Vicky, he will turn this place into a den of slack.
What the hell is your problem?
I have have to work around here. And unfortunately, Troy, you are a master at the art of time suckage.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, Miss Poster Girl, for the workers' party, but until I get that toehold in the burger industry, I got a little time to suck. I'd rather check into a shelter than deal with her.
Okay, I know how much you'd love to mainline your misery here, but you don't have to. I mean, I can get you a job interview at my dad's plant.
What is that, like part of my lease agreement?
It's either that or a credit check.
It's cool, Troy. You can stay. Welcome to the maxi pad.
She views him as just kind of like really lazy and really, she gets really frustrated with him, which means she's really in love with him. You know, she gets like, you know, because he just sits there and he's just so cynical and he's so like, he's so flippant with her.
Sparks fly when Lelena runs into Michael, an over-caffeinated executive from In Your Face TV who's never finished a sentence and never lived out of the fast lane.
Michael, don't laugh at me.
What? She's never really met anyone like him, and he's this like, you know, kind of slick guy from New York who's really goofy, too.
Then there's Lelena's sexually profligate roommate, Vicky, played by Janine Garofalo, a Ben Stiller show veteran who won the role over Patricia Arquette. It might be her first movie, but she says she picked up the required attitude in no time.
But I have the prima donna stuff down really well. You know, I'm not a good actor, but I can throw a fit with the best of them. And Winona doesn't do it, much to my chagrin. You know, I thought she was going to be a big pain. She's very, very nice. Ethan, a little sensitive, kind of artistic, artsy guy from New York. He's not going to do it. And so I figured somebody, I'll just be the one. So the crew hates me.
Janine, I was just like, you know, in awe of just following her around, you know, thinking she was just, I get really intimidated by funny people because I've never had that gift.
You don't feel confident in your comedic abilities, or you think that's a hard thing?
Gosh, no, I wish. You know, I'm the type of person who, like, I'll say something funny and everyone will laugh, so I'll say it again. You know, and it's like really pathetic because then everyone's like, huh, you know.
Lelena has a slave labor gig for a hideous local talk show and is making a documentary about her friends on the side. But after she gets fired and fesses up to her parents, she finds herself hip deep in the land of the McJob.
Why'd you get a job at Burgerama?
I was valedictorian of my university.
Mrs. Spears, do you have any idea what it means to be a cashier at Wiener Schnitzel?
Yeah, it's taking orders and making change and taking...
No, it's a juggling act.
A juggling act? You mean like metaphorically?
No, I mean you got people coming at you from the front, coming at you from the back, from the sides, people at the condiment exchange, people at the drive-thru, kids on bikes, and they're all depending on who?
Me?
Hey, you got time to lean, you got time to clean, buddy, all right? You gotta be 150% of your toes 150% of the time. There you go, sir. And have a tune, Wiener dude. All righty. Okay, I'm gonna throw a few numbers out at you, and you put them together in your head as quick as you can, okay? 85 and 45, go.
140.
Nope.
150.
Nope.
160.
It's not an auction. Miss Pierce, there's a reason I've been here 6 months.
I hear about it every time I talk to one of my friends back home. They're like, I can't believe it. I went to Wendy's today and I didn't even get the job. It's like so sad.
This grim landscape is accompanied by a soundtrack that features not just contemporary contributions from Juliana Hatfield, U2, Dinosaur Jr., and Lenny Kravitz, but some terrifying flashbacks from the 70s, too.
Can you turn this up, please? Please? You won't be sorry. Thank you.
A couple people I know saw it, didn't know we were kidding. And that really scared me. Like, what if people think that I dance like that, you know? Doing that, probably the most fearful moment of my, you know, film career is like, okay, I just gotta let loose and be a geek.
Still to come, The Curse of Generation X, Winona's Soul Asylum Sweetheart, and more from Reality Bites.
He's strange, he's sloppy, he's a total nightmare for women. I can't believe I haven't slept with him yet.
Vicky just figured something out. Something wonderful.
Evian is naive spelled backwards.
Even as Winona Ryder makes her way through young adulthood, the coming-of-age pangs that Hollywood tends to disparage remain vivid in her memory, and she takes the portrayal of those emotions very seriously.
Actors think it's not cool to be in young movies. Like, they think if they're going to be taken seriously, they have to be in, like, they have to work with De Niro, and they have to work, you know, they have to be in these, like, really, these older movies. And people always say, oh, you don't want to do another coming-of-age movie. Like the feelings you feel when you're coming of age aren't as important as the feelings you feel when you're 30, 40, 50. You know, when you're 16, the pain is just as excruciating as when you're older. And, you know, it shouldn't be like, oh, how sweet young love, or oh, how cute, they're coming of age. Isn't that just adorable?
Coming off of what she's described as an emotionally trying year, Ryder says she's happier these days, and one of the reasons turns up in Reality Bites. Appearing with her in the movie, albeit briefly, is her boyfriend, Soul Asylum frontman Dave Pirner.
How is it like working with Dave in this?
Ah, oh God. Well, with his big line, I would watch the big picture thing where it had said, and starring Dave Pirner. And it's like, no. Basically what happened was it was an excuse. He was on tour and we really missed each other, and it was an excuse for him to come out. And they paid for his ticket, and he was like, oh, you mean? So I called, I go, will you just say this line? And he's like, well, what do I have to do? I'm like, just say one sentence and they'll fly you out and you'll get to have a couple days off. And he's like, oh, okay. So I don't think like either of us we didn't even think it was really gonna end up in the movie, because we were shooting so much at that point, like little on video tape, that we thought most of it would just end up in the trash. But it didn't, so I don't know, it was fun. It was just a good excuse to hang out together.
Also near and dear to Winona's heart is a proposed sequel to Heathers, which almost kept her out of Reality Bites.
I was nervous actually when I signed on to Reality Bites, because in the Heather sequel that we've been talking about, it's Veronica after you know, you think that Heathers are only in school, but then they're in the real world too. And so that was our whole thing, and so I didn't want Reality Bites to be too similar to that, but I don't think it is.
So I just imagine you see millions of scripts that try to be what Reality Bites is on a daily basis. I'm curious, what about this movie made it stand out in your mind and say, out of all these things that get offered to me, this is something I'm really interested in?
Well, I think that it was written by a 23-year-old. Most of the scripts I get are written by 40-year-olds, you know, through the eyes of a 21-year-old, and it's very obvious that this is a 40-year-old man writing, you know, about a 21-year-old girl. And it's just very apparent. Not to say that it's bad, it's just not right.
I think she is this character. Now, you say, wait a minute, she's making millions of dollars, she's, you know, got a rock star boyfriend, and, right, that's not Lelena. But on some level, what she immediately hooked into when she read the script, she connected with it. Maybe this is the person that, you know, she would want to be if she wasn't a movie star.
I'm making this documentary about my friends, but it's really about people who are trying to find their own identity without having any real role models or heroes or anything.
It seems like your friends would be perfect for that.
Obviously, this movie is going to carry the freight from some people of being a movie of a particular generation, a Generation X movie or something like that. Is that, I can see you already grimacing at the prospect.
Well, I'd rather it not be labeled as that, because that makes it so other generations don't feel welcome, I think.
It seems like right now that this culture is trying to label things before they even happen. Or, you know, and certainly I don't think one movie it can speak for an entire generation, you know.
I think these characters reflect a certain type of person more than a sweeping age group. There are the type of people that, you know, the Doc Martin types who live communally after college and dress a certain way and, you know, go see, like, You know, the dead milkmen and the meat puppets, that is a big part of their social life. These people are like those people.
I'm gonna change.
No, don't change. And don't go thinking for yourself either, Lainey.
Come on, let's go. You don't need this.
You don't know what she needs.
I think I know what she needs in a way that you never will.
For me, I knew what I wanted it to be ultimately was a love story. And I knew for me that was what the core of it was.
It doesn't pretend to be what it's not, and it doesn't ever get stupid, it doesn't ever get insulting. I don't think it speaks down to anybody.
And with all these generational movies and all this, you know, generational stuff, for me, I knew it wasn't going to work on that level unless it worked as just a basic story that people were involved in. And I saw it as this romantic story that was funny, too.
I don't really know anybody who just, like, they meet someone, they fall in love, and it's just great for a really long time, you know? It's just, like, doesn't happen like that. You have to have experiences that are like not so great, that are weird, that are uncomfortable. I really like the scene where, you know, Ethan's character kisses me and it's like really awkward, you know?
You see, Lainey, this is all we need. A couple of smokes, a cup of coffee, and a little bit of conversation. You and me and $5.
You got it.
You know what?
No, Troy, I can't. I can't.
Why not? You never thought about it?
Well, yes, of course I have, but
But what?
I can't not be friends with you, okay? I
don't want
can't.
that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about evolving.
I just can't handle this right now. I can't evolve right now.
It's not a movie full of movie kisses. It's like a movie full of like real, like, you know, ouch, your tooth hit my lip kind of kisses, and that's how it is. You come in, I'm graduating from college, valedictorian, giving my big, righteous, obnoxious speech, and living with my best friend, Vicky. God, how does it start?
Can you sort of come up with like a straightforward description of what this movie is? If someone was gonna
make Ben do that.
Ethan's one of those guys who thinks he's Tom Cruise, all right? Only he forgot to do Top Gun, okay?
What's Ben like to work with?
He's an ass. Is that what you want?
She kind of learns that life isn't really as easy. You know, you just are... Was that a tremor?
No.
Okay.